Please be seated. The court is now back in session. And before I hand the floor to Counsel Victor Coupe, the Chamber would like to remind the defense teams that you have the rest of this afternoon and one additional tomorrow morning session. And that is all the time allowed for the defense. You can proceed, Counsel Coupe. And Counsel Coupe, please arrange the time, the combined time for the defense teams with the case and pawn defense team. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I have a few more topics that I would like to discuss with you. But before I do that, I would like to go back to your very last answer before the break. I'm not quite sure if I understand. Did you say that you were afraid to give answers on Vietnam's policy because of what exactly?
Witness, Counsel, please put your question again.
You said something before the break, Mr. Witness, when I was asking you questions about the Indo-Chinese Federation and Vietnam's ambitions. And then you said something to the effect that you were somehow afraid to speak about that because of the fact that many Vietnamese lived in Cambodia. Was that your statement? And if yes, what exactly do you mean with that?
I prefer not to talk in length about the ambition of Vietnam, because if I do so, then I would be concerned about my personal safety. When I appear before this court, my photo, my voice, my video, and the content of what I say are broadcast everywhere by radio and television. Vietnamese people could hear it and listen to it, and people in some road and everywhere also can hear it and listen to it. For that reason, and for my personal security, I prefer not to talk at length on this issue.
Also, when I ask questions about Vietnam's policy 40 years ago,
I still have concern, as I just stated.
Very well. Mr. Witness, I move on to my last topics. And one of my last topic is something that I would like to discuss with you with the document E34093 in hands. That's a document that we have been discussing today and yesterday at length. Mr. Duty Counsel, E3/4093. And more specifically, I would like to ask you a question about English ERN page 00831-489, Khmer 00270790, and French 00729 676. This report is writing something about two women. One is named Nai Chi, the wife of Seng. I see that the witness still hasn't. This one I know, Mr. President, he has in front of him. This is E3/4093. That's the document with your signature. And then I would like to take you, Mr. Witness, to Khmer page that ends with 90. And the document talks about two females, Nai Chi, the wife of Seng, and Pana. Are you seeing it? Mr. President, I have an extra copy.
President, court officer, please take the document from the defense counsel for the witness examination.
So like I said, Mr. Witness, I would like to draw your attention to what is written in relation to Nai Chi, and especially the box that I made for you. It says, and I read the English translation, "This woman has contradictions with the revolution, leading to endless sorting out. Along with this, she constantly looks down on the leading cadre. As for her activities, she pretends to be crazy and endlessly steals everything. No matter how she is educated, she refuses to refashion herself." My question, Mr. Witness, is to the sentence, about the sentence, "No matter how she is educated, she refuses to refashion herself." Would you be able to say anything about the amount of times attempts were made to re-educate or refashion people in general?
As for the time period for the education, usually it would last for half a day.
Would it happen that somebody was sent for re-education, finished the re-education, and then at one point in time came back and was sent for re-education again and again and again?
On this issue that the person pretends to be crazy or was believes to be crazy, then the re-education sessions could continue.
Would you be able to give an estimate as in general? Up to how many times could somebody be sent for re-education?
reduce the period for the re-education sessions from anywhere between 2 weeks to 1 month.
So did it happen that you know of that somebody was sent for re-education, came back and was sent for re-education again, but then for a longer period of time, and then came back again and was again sent for re-education?
I did not encounter that issue.
Okay. Mr. Witness, when somebody was sent to Re-Education Office 105, also known as Krang Tachan, do you know if re-education was done there as well, and if yes, can you say something about how long the re-education could last for people who were sent to Krang Tachan?
I did not know about that. However, concerning the issue of the woman in this document, she would probably be re-educated at Main's place at Angroka. I did not know what happened at the Krang Tachan office.
Why are you saying that she might be sent there rather than to Krang Tachan?
This woman was involved in a minor offense, and she would likely be sent to a re-education place at Angroka, that is at a place where May was in charge.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. As just mentioned by me before, Krang Tachan was officially named Re-Education Office 105. The title of this office or center would imply that people were sent there for re-education. Do you know whether that was really the case, or was it, or did the title not fit with the events or the things that happened there? Can you say anything about the title of that security center?
Here,
It was indeed a re-education office.
So, is it your testimony that the title of the office accurately reflects what went on in Krang Tachan?
did not know the details of the activities of what went on at the Krang Tachan office.
Do you know, Mr. Witness, whether people who were sent to Krang Tachan were also interrogated about their alleged activities?
They could be interrogated at that office.
Did you ever read interrogation reports, or were you ever informed about the contents of interrogations of people who were sent there?
I never received such a report.
Mr. Witness, there is testimony before this chamber that would imply that people were sent to Krang Tachan, Re-Education Center 105, without being interrogated and executed immediately. Do you know anything about this?
Whether they either interrogated or they were kept for quite some time before they were interrogated, that's beyond my grasp of what went on there.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I would like to ask you another question about words being used within Democratic Kampuchea. And I would like to show you two reports, two Tramkok district reports. The first one is E3/2453, and that is English ERN 00388-586 and Khmer ERN 00270-784. I have a copy with the relevant page with me, Mr. President, so maybe if you allow the court officer to present this page from E32453 to the witness, and I would like to ask him a question.
Yes, you may do so.
Mr. Witness, this seems to be a report from Neng Nang district, and in the middle of that page there's a sentence, and I would like to read that to you. It says in English, "My analysis is that they have plans to smash our revolution." So it's in the orange. It's in the orange on the first page, Mr. Witness. It's on the orange color. So my question is about the sentence. My analysis that they have plans to smash our revolution. What does the word smash mean here?
To smash here means to destroy.
So it's another word than killing? Is that what you're saying?
No, in this context, it does not mean killing. It means to destroy.
I have one more example, Mr. Witness, that I would like to show you. Mr. President, this document is not on the interface, so I'll be slowly in putting it before the witness. It's E3/2053. The English ERN is 002-76578. And Khmer ERN is 000-79122. And I would like to ask your permission, Mr. President, to also present this document to the witness. I also have the paragraph colored for easy reference.
Just for the record, to move things along, we have no objection.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
For the record, we do have some reservations. So can a colleague present the document to us so that we could read it before he gives it to the witness? I think those were the rules that we agreed to. So could we therefore see the document before our colleague puts a question to the witness and provides him with that document?
I just said very, very slowly the E3 number, so I would imagine I even see prosecution being helpful. So I think the civil party lawyer should be able to get this document on her screen.
Let me ask the President for clarification regarding this issue.
President. On this issue, the prosecution does not object to it. However, the lead co-lawyer for civil parties requests the document to be presented by the defense counsel. And in fact, the defense counsel provided the document number already, that is E3/2053. How much time do you need the international lead co-lawyer for civil parties for you to review this document before the defense counsel can continue putting question to this witness?
Thank you, Mr. President. Of course, we have uploaded the document in the meantime, but it's simply a problem of principle, the principles of adversarial hearings, that say that parties should be notified in advance of parties that are going to be used during the hearings. So all we need is a few minutes to be notified so that we can upload it, and then the document can be presented to the witness. We're only asking for that, for a few minutes that we took advantage of when you were deliberating. But I think, however, we should respect the rules, and everyone should.
President, thank you. And when Counsel Coupe made an announcement that the document was not uploaded on the interface, and the Chamber, of course, considered that because the document is only 2 pages. And for that reason, we grant the defense counsel to do it and to proceed. And of course, we wish to implement the instructions that we set for all the parties in terms of uploading the documents on the interface. And in the case that you fail to do so, you need to provide a reason to the chamber and ask for the chamber's leave before you can proceed with the reference to that document. And in this instance, even the co-prosecutor does not object to it. And for the lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you also do not object to it, but rather to remind the parties in the chamber on the principle of uploading the document onto the interface. And of course, Counsel Coupe, please try to follow the instructions and to upload the documents that you intend to use onto the interface as instructed by the chamber. And Counsel Coupe, in fact, you can proceed, but before that, you are reminded that you have half an hour this afternoon and tomorrow morning, only one session, that is starting from 9 o'clock until the short break, not the full morning sessions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify, this is a typical document that came up at the second day of questioning by the prosecution. So sometimes things come up, and that's why I would like to use this document. It's impossible to always know in advance exactly what we are trying to ask. So
the idea is to follow procedures. We have acknowledged that this might happen, and we have established a procedure.
Yeah, yes. So, Mr. Witness, I would like to show you, and with the permission of the President, I will bring that to you, or have that brought to you, E3/2053. And I would like to ask you to have a look at the sentence that I colored in orange.
ឲ្យវិនអនុញ្ញាត
President, your request is granted, Council.
Mr. Witness, this is a report apparently from Trapang Tom South Cooperative, and I would like you to have a look at English ERN 00276578, and you have in front of you the Khmer ERN, which I don't have now. In the middle, or in the third paragraph of this report, it says as follows. Their plans are as follows. And the plans, the document is talking about 4 people who are having plans. It says, number 1, their 5-year plan is to ensure the smashing of the cooperatives. If they cannot destroy them in 5 years, then 7 years. And if they still cannot smash them, they have further plans to do whatever is necessary to wear down the cooperatives and to absolutely oppose communal dining. My question is a very simple and short one. The word smash, contact, is being used here as well. Can you tell us if you know what the word smash means here?
Answer. Smash here mean to damage or to destroy the cooperative.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. My final subject is the following. That's your position in relation to teaching. You, as I understand, had a position in respect of education both before DK and maybe also during DK. Can you tell the Chamber what was the general purpose of education within DK? What were the aims of the CPK in relation to education of the people? Are you able to tell us something in general about these objectives?
Answer. Council, could you ask me more specific? Are you referring to teaching or education to which group of people?
I'll be more specific. My question is, what was the purpose? What were the objectives during the DK regime in respect of education of children, small children, older children, students? What did the DK authorities envisage? What did they try to achieve in terms of education?
Answer. For children, the main purpose of teaching was to teach them how to write, to read. The second purpose was to educate them to love the revolution and democratic Cambodia and to work hard and to do the labor or any work for a progress in their village, commune, and cooperative. And there were other purposes, including to make those children to have good morality, to be humble, to be gentle, and to give up the character as a person of a hooligan or rude person. That's all I can tell you.
So was it the objective of the DK regime to organize primary education to small children, secondary education to older children, and also to create universities? In other words, was one of the purposes, as you remember, of the DK to educate people, educate students, mathematics, languages, etc.?
Answer. During the time when I was at Tramkak, there was a teaching program for the children, and also the teaching of alphabet, reading, and also some arithmetic, but there was no foreign language as part of the teaching. And there was also geography as part of the curriculum. So when children were at the third or the fourth grade, there were geography classes, and there were textbooks, students' book, including a part of Khmer literature and mathematics, but we don't have foreign language as part of our program during the time. But when people fled to the border area, there were programs including foreign language, including English language and Thai language, which is operated or taught by the DK after 1979.
Are you in a position, Mr. Witness, to say something in general about the position of teachers in DK? Were there many teachers, or were you actively looking for teachers to teach the children? What can you tell us about the position of teachers within DK?
Answer. Most of the time, the teachers at Tramkak were women teachers, and the training and education were about technical on psychology, and also teaching methods were trained to those teachers, and the training session would be organized every month or every 3 months.
When you were a teacher in the DK period, was that a reason to be fearful? Were teachers being threatened in the DK period?
Answer. One of the answers indicating that I was a teacher, I was in charge of 105 teachers, but in fact I was not in charge of this matter. But as teachers at Tramkak, we were not fearful of anything, everyone would do their job at their cooperative as usual.
Now, Mr. Withers, it seems that also after 79, you stayed active in education. I would like to read to you your answer to question 102, and I would like to ask you to give some more details on this. The question of the investigators is as follows. You are now living in Samlot. Do you hold any position in any party or in the civil service? And your answer is no. The Khmer Rouge called me to Samlaut in 1995, and I was assigned to take charge of education in Samlaut. When there was the integration program in 1996, the government, led by Hun Sen, assigned me to be chairman of education, youth, and sports of Samlaut district. Is that answer indeed what you told the investigators?
Answer: yes, this is correct. In 1995, I was called by Democratic Cambodia to live in Samlot, and I was assigned as a person who is in charge of education. But now we can say education for youth and sport in Samlot district, and later in the reintegration into the government assigned me as the chief of the Department of Youth and Sport Education for Samlot district. And after the 5th and the 6th of July 1997, I fled to live in a camp in Thailand, and when I returned in 1998 or 1999, I was removed from my position as the chief of the Department of Youth and Sport for Samlot. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Are you able to make a comparison to the state of education in Cambodia 96-97 and the state of education in general within the DK period? Can you make a comparison? Were there differences, or were there many things the same? It's a difficult question, but I hope you will be able to answer this question.
Answer: during Democratic Cambodia period, before the integration into the government, the current government, and before the current government took control of the education matter, it's my apology, Council. I'm not well aware of this matter, but when I arrived in Samlot in 1995, the education, the teaching and program for students at Samlot is much better. They were both in the morning and in the afternoon. So, but the President, Council and witness, you seem to go beyond the scope of the question, because the question focuses on for you to make a comparison between the education during DK period and after that during the time when you were in Samlot. Witness, Yes, my comparison of the DK education and the education during 1996. The education during DK period were focused on textbook and better material, and also the same for the education in 1996. But the education during 1995 and 1996 is better because we had school building and good classrooms. But back in the DK period, the school building were not appropriate. Sometimes we taught students under a tree. But I can tell you only what happened in some lot in 1995 and 1996. It was much better than the education back in the DK era. I was in charge of the Department of Youth and Sport. I would invite all teachers every month to give them additional training for improvement. That's all I can tell you, Mr. Counsel.
My last question on the situation of education in DK. Are you able to tell us what the effects were of the Civil War, the War of Liberation, that lasted between 1970 or 1968 and 1975? Did the war have an impact on education in terms of destruction of school buildings, etc.?
Answer. The war from... Are you asking me from 1970 to 1975?
As you know, as we all know, Mr. Witness, there was a long civil war up until 1975. My question is whether you can say something about the effects of the war on the education, on school buildings, on organization, etc.
Answer. The war from 1970 to 1975, it was a 5 years war. It had a great impact on the school building, pagoda and other buildings, and the students and children had no chance to get to study in the building, but they had to get their study and education under tree and to different places which are not appropriate. So the impact of the war was great in extent. This is what I experienced in Takeo province. I cannot say for other provinces.
My last question, Mr. Witness, was it the purpose of DK to rebuild the education as quickly as possible and to repair the destruction that the war had caused? Is that what the purpose was in terms of education in DK?
Answer. After the end of the five-year war, DK had a great purpose for improving education. We try our best to build school buildings and to call more students and pupils to go to school, and we gave training to teacher about methodology. These are the purposes of the K at the time, and there were other main purpose of the democratic Cambodia in the education. So that's all I can tell you in summary, Mr. Counsel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Thank you, Mr. President.
President, we have limited time, but we need to proceed with our task that the Chamber informed the party this morning, especially the request by OCP, document D 309/7. And this afternoon, the Defense Counsel for Nuon Chea had indicated clearly on this matter, and the Chamber would like to hear from you in response to the request by the co-prosecutor regarding the new witness, the document E319/7. My correction to Mr. Defense Counsel for Mr. Kilsampon. The Chamber obtained the oral submission from the Defense Counsel for Mr. Nuon Chea, but we would like now to hear from the Defense Counsel for Mr. Kilsampon.
Bien, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, as regards the merits of the question that has been asked, the written statement of this person has been referred to a lot and used during these proceedings, so we therefore do not object to the summoning of this person to appear before this chamber, because we are very much attached to Rule 84, which has to do with the respect for adversarial proceedings. If you indeed decide to call the witness to appear before the chamber, it would nevertheless be necessary for you to give us the time to read all the documents in the folder taken from cases 3 and 4 as forwarded to us by the prosecution. This is a huge volume of documents, not only to read but also to analyze. There are probably other witnesses who address the same issues as those addressed by the witness before the chamber today, in order to properly examine or cross-examine that witness. It is, of course, important for us to take cognizance not only of the statements by this witness, but all other statements that have been placed on the record by the prosecution and which may deal with the same subject. Still, with regard to these questions, let me point out that on Thursday afternoon, when we had the trial management meeting on the subject of the 16 folders served by the prosecutor, would also ask for additional time to work on those documents, to analyze them and to study them, and to look at those depositions. And the following day, the senior legal officer also disclosed documents, and we would like the chamber to clarify some matters, because in the mail it is indicated that we will not postpone the appearance of this witness before us because the application was made too late and that the person is elderly and lives far from Phnom Penh. It is also said that TCW 248 would appear before this chamber, but it is not explained why that witness is maintained on the list. I do not know whether the lack of an explanation shows that it is all the parties, all the application made by the parties were denied, and that the chamber who is appearing before us would appear all the same, and that the next witness would also appear before the chamber, even though no explanations have been provided. Be that as it may, I do not know the position of the chamber regarding the application made during the trial management meeting. I have not failed to note, like everyone else here, that in the memorandum you disclosed the next day regarding the schedule of hearings, you said that the parties could avail themselves of the time during which the chamber would not be sitting to study all those documents and to look at all the various pieces of evidence or elements. But I believe that you are referring to the 16 folders. Regarding those folders, let me point out again that we need 6 weeks, not only to read those documents, but to analyze them. To conclude, I would like to point out that the defense of Khieu Samphan, in the face of this situation we face today, we wish to reiterate the practice that has been adopted, or that was adopted in the first trial, notably that your chamber had decided while we were drafting our closing arguments that it considered that approximately 1,500 written statements had been placed on the record in lieu of testimony. And this decision is, of course, the grounds of appeals we raised regarding your first judgment. I, of course, understand that you noted that since cases 3 and 4 are still being investigated, you are not in a position to master the flows of future documents and any documents related to those 2 cases. I understand that such a position is not tenable. To my mind, as part of a fair trial, by bringing up all these new documents, you should spell a rule which is chronological by giving a date.
President, we allowed you the floor last time to speak on this issue, but you did not participate in that meeting. And today, we only have a very brief moment, and the main focus is on the submission by the Office of the Co-Prosecutors in the document E319/7, that is to hear a new witness. Likely it was just one witness. So it seems that you only reiterated the issues and the submissions made by other parties during the trial management meeting that was held last time. Secondly, on the issue of the witness to TCW 948, it is not subject to the request by Nuon Chia's defense. Nuon Chia defense only raised the issues concerning true witnesses only, that is to TCW 803 and 809. The Chamber considers the matter and also notified the parties due to the long-distance traveling of this particular witness, and that was reiterated in the report by Visu, who urged the Chamber to continue to hear the testimony of this person, as it takes several days for the traveling to and from his residence. And also, that was the point that was raised by Nuon Chia himself. So, I don't think the time that the Chamber gave to you, you make your submissions regarding the OCP request in the document E319/7, and rather you raise many other points out of this subject matter, and which had already been discussed during the TMM meeting. If you have any submission to make regarding document E319/7, you may continue. Otherwise, you will not be allowed the floor, as we still have another party to provide their oral submission on this matter. And we are even now running out of time. And in fact, after we listened to the parties during the TMM, we deliberated amongst the judges of the trial chamber, and at present we are in the process of issuing our decision. As this matter is also complicated, dealing with the International Co-Investigating Judge and the works that he is doing right now. We are in the consultation and discussion with the International Co-Investigating Judge on the relaxation of certain restrictions on the documents, but so far we haven't got any result yet. And in fact, this morning we were 5 minutes late, and we were waiting for the response from the International Co-Investigating Judge on this very issue, so that we can use it or incorporate it in our decision. And if, of course, we cannot make a decision on this issue, then additional TMM will be scheduled. However, there was no need since TMM was held, and we are in the process of making our decision. And all parties did not oppose through the disclosure of documents by the prosecution, as it conforms with the practice of other tribunals, international tribunals. If you have any observation or submission to make regarding document E319/7, you may proceed. Otherwise, the floor will not be given to you, as the matters you had raised were dealt with in the last TMM.
Mr. President, I simply was underscoring the reasons why
President, the matters were raised during the TMM, but you did not avail yourself to attend to the TMM.
Yes, but I do read transcripts. And I read the transcripts this time.
Of course, you read the transcript, but the time allowed to your team to make observation on this E319/7 is expired. Please be seated. And now the lead co-lawyer for civil parties, if you have any oral submission to make regarding the request by OCP in reference to document E319/7, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have no objections for having this witness proposed by the co-prosecutors appear.
President, thank you. The chamber will adjourn the proceedings now and will resume tomorrow morning. That is Thursday, the 12th March 2015, commencing from 9 o'clock in the morning. And tomorrow, the chamber will hear the remainder of the testimony of the witness Niang Ut. This information is for the relevant parties and the public. Mr. Niang Ut, the chamber is grateful of your presence and testimony. However, it is not yet concluded, and you are therefore invited to return to the chamber tomorrow morning, starting from 9 o'clock. And it is likely that your testimony will conclude in less than 2 hours tomorrow, and you may then return to your residence. Court officer, in collaboration with WISU, please make necessary transportation arrangement for Niang Ut and the reserve witness, that is through TCW 948, to return to their residence, and invites them both to the chamber before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Likewise, duty counsel Moon Savan, you are invited to return tomorrow morning to assist the witness during the hearing of the remainder of this witness testimony, as well as the testimony of the reserve witness. Security personnel, you are instructed to take the accused Nuon Chi In Ki and Kil Sampon back to the detention facility of the ECCC and have them return to participate in the proceeding tomorrow morning prior to 9 o'clock. The court is now adjourned.